It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Hey, good morning and welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News on this, the 20th day of August, 2020. Welcome to each and every one of you guys. We've got a bunch of new subscribers, so some of you new folks are out there. We regularly do this every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday at 11 a.m. We talk about all facets of the travel and cruise industry and what's going on out there, the good, the bad, and whatever. Today, I'm going to do a little something unusual. I'm going to take the first couple minutes here on a personal matter, and because I can. That's why. I have kind of an announcement to make that has to do with my friend, Melinda Arthur, who's a lovely friend of mine and is quite an artist. She's also been a tremendous inspiration to me as she has publicly put up a fight against cancer. And she is now thrilled to say a cancer survivor and back to working in her studio. But some of you know that have been following me for a while. About a year ago, I lost my little buddy, Brat the cat. And a year before that, I lost Max the dog. That were my two animals that lived here in the cave with me on the farm in Virginia. And I commissioned Melly to do portraits for me, which are now finished. They're being framed, and they will eventually hang back here behind me with Tina Turtle. But that's Max the dog, and that's Brat the cat. And I am just thrilled with the job that Melinda has done. And they will be hanging behind me. They're being framed now. As soon as they get back with the frames, in a week, 10 days, 2 weeks, whenever I get them, they're going to go on the wall back there with Tina Turtle. So that's Max the dog and Brat the cat. So, all right, getting on to the news items for the day. But we've obviously got to first look at the weather. Hurricane Genevieve, about, maybe 45 minutes ago, passed within 30 miles of Cabo San Lucas on the tip of Baja. That's how close the center came. And of course, that put a ton of water into Cabo. The last reports I had, which was literally just a few minutes ago, that was last evening. You can see the kind of surf that was hitting in there. It's kind of a fuzzy picture. I think that was probably a still picture taken from a video. But anyway, you can see the kind of surf at Cabo. As of a few minutes ago, the streets of Cabo are underwater. It looks to be a good couple feet of water through the entire town of Cabo San Lucas. So they're having quite a go of it out there in the Pacific this morning. It made its closest pass to Baja California just literally within the last couple hours. Of course, the hurricane warnings are throughout the entire Mexican state. It rapidly intensified Tuesday to a Category 4, but then started weakening yesterday and is back to a Category 1 with winds of 85 miles an hour. It's now expected to veer slightly to the northwest, which will keep it from actually hitting land. So there's probably not going to be a landfall. It's going to miss it by the 30 miles that it just scooted by before we came on the air. The latest update, which just came out as we went on the air, the sustained winds are now 75 miles an hour. The minimum pressure is 984 millibars. She speeded up. She's now moving northwest at 12 miles an hour, which is a good sign. If it had stayed, it was actually about 8 miles an hour earlier this morning. Had it stayed at that speed, there would have been a good chance that a slight shift of weather conditions would have put it actually to land. But it looks like now it's going to go on and speed up and head on out to sea. Let's see the further advisory if there's anything worthwhile mentioning. Genevieve is going to pass west of the peninsula. Tropical storm conditions will continue over southern Baja California Sur through today and possibly linger into tonight. Continued heavy rainfall from Genevieve may lead to light threatening flash flooding and mudslides across portions as far southern Baja California through today, and the surf will continue to be massive. So that takes care of the Pacific. Now we got a couple of things to look at in the Atlantic. So there's 3 storms in the Atlantic right now. The little yellow X is one depression over there, still over the coast of Africa, which will be hopping out to sea later on today or tonight. Then you come across about halfway to 13. 13 is not a named storm yet. It has sustained winds of 35 miles an hour. The pressure is 1,008 millibars. She's moving pretty rapidly on a west-northwesterly pass at 21 miles an hour. Tropical storm conditions are possible across portions of the northern Leeward Islands. Tropical storm watches have been issued for some of these islands. Heavy rainfall is likely across the area. Now, where this one has some interest is it appears that the most likely path of 13 is that it will slide over here to the north of Puerto Rico, to the north of Hispaniola, with the Dominican Republic. So it's not going to be impacted by those high mountains on those 2 islands, which would tend to break it up. Now, the water conditions and other conditions for it for further formation are there, especially the extremely warm water. So if it stays to the north of Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic and misses those mountains, it has a good chance of rapidly intensifying to hurricane strength and go into the Gulf. It could possibly impact Florida, or it could go on into the Gulf of Mexico by the weekend or early next week. Now, that brings us up to the red X over here, which is 97L, which has just been reclassified in the update just moments ago to now 14. So it's got a number, not yet a name, but a number. It also has sustained winds of 35 miles an hour. Its pressure is 1,007. It's moving west at 21. So it most likely is going to hit Mexico, Cancun, somewhere Cozumel along the Yucatan shortly. Tropical Depression 14 is expected to strengthen over the Northwestern Caribbean through Saturday. It could produce tropical storm force winds and heavy rainfall over portions of the coast of Honduras and the Bay Islands beginning tonight through Friday. The system could be near or at hurricane strength when it reaches the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico late Saturday. Watches, of course, will be issued later today, should that be necessary. The system is expected to move into a south central Gulf of Mexico as a tropical storm on Sunday. Now, the interesting part of this is 13 and 14 could, in fact, if all things happen right, end up in the Gulf at the same time. That'd be a hell of a mess. But anyway, so going to have to keep an eye on 13 and 14, as which will be probably named storms by the time we're, back on the air come Saturday. So we'll keep an eye on that. All right. Now for a couple news items. This is a story that, unfortunately, most of you know, that at least follow me on Facebook, that I spent several hours in the dentist office yesterday, and as a result was all swollen up and numb and really couldn't talk yesterday. I'm still a little sore, quite frankly. It was not the most pleasant day for me, and I've got a couple places that are sore, so I feel like I'm slurring some words. It's very possible that I am, because I had a lot of work done yesterday. So the result of that is that the story had enough significance. I normally would have gone on the air live with it yesterday when I saw it, but I couldn't talk. So some of you may have read about it or seen stories on it elsewhere. But a family from on board the Grandiosa, of course, that's a ship that everybody in the world is watching this week, as it's the first major ship to sail in Europe. That's the Grandiosa leaving port on last Sunday. But a family was kicked off the Grandiosa for violating the new protocols put in place regarding shore excursions. Now, you guys remember, I talked about the shore excursions on Tuesday, where the only excursions they're allowing are MSC excursions that they have set up similar to a safety bubble on the excursions to keep the passengers as best they can healthy. So they're not bringing any COVID-19 back on the ship and causing that problem. And they're doing everything they can to keep this cruise going without any problems. Well, these people apparently broke protocol. MSC Cruises vessel is the first ship from the mainstream line to sail since the entire industry went into lockdown, yada, yada, yada. It's a typical PR stuff. But anyway, these people went ashore and apparently broke from their shore excursion while visiting Naples. A person from MSC told my friends over Cruise Radio about parting from the organized shore excursion. This family broke from the safe social bubble that MSC created for them to safely enjoy the visit ashore, and therefore could not be permitted to reboard the ship. So those people got kicked off because they went off on their own instead of staying with the excursion. I'm sure there are some of you folks out there that are going to complain about that. Just like some of you folks complain about wearing a mask. You're in the same boat. Not me. Hats off to MSC for doing what they got to do to keep the passengers safe. And the people that got kicked off, you deserve it. Sorry, folks, you do. Until we're done with this, whenever that is, you people got to realize that these protocols are not there for ha-has. They're there for a reason, and you better follow them, or you're going to have things like that happen to you. You're going to get kicked the hell off a boat, and these people are stranded someplace in Naples and can't get, how are they going to get back home? Who knows? I am not at all upset with MSC for doing that whatsoever. The people deserve it. Sorry. Hate to say that, but that's the way I feel. All right. Interesting story came out from Heathrow Airport. Some of you also might have seen this yesterday, that Heathrow Airport has now installed a COVID-19 testing facility ahead of a potential change in government policy on quarantine. Basically, they've set up one of these fast result testing facilities like we all want to see used a lot more, especially around the travel and cruise industry. Now, I don't care if it's the breathalyzer test or it's the spit test, or if they've got some way of doing one of the swab tests quickly. But this testing facility at Heathrow Airport is probably going to do away with the quarantine. The 14-day quarantine when you get back to London from, if you're in France, for instance, they started that. And they were looking, we found out this morning that they're looking at Croatia now on putting that travel restriction. Well, this would change the 14-day things. You get back, if you've gone to Spain, let's say, on a holiday, and you get back to the British Isles, and you go through Heathrow, they give you a test, you pass the test, you don't have to quarantine for 14 days. Now, if you come back negative, that's a different story. They've also got tracing to try to figure out where the hell it came from. But good for Heathrow. I hope it works well. I hope they've got the quick enough tests so they don't have problems on the back end of it, and that the efficacy is good. I'm not sure what kind of tests they're using. They don't go that detailed in the situation. But good for them. They're moving in the right direction. The other story this morning I throw out just as I got information on this while Pete and I were doing our test with our guest from Sunday. And some of you, if you're old as I am, remember back about 100 years ago, Jacques Cousteau doing all kinds of TV stuff, and, all the oceans of the world and ships of the world. And I was always just fascinated with Jacques Cousteau stuff. I mean, that was early television. That was a long time ago. And he was old then. Well, this is his grandson, Fabien Cousteau, is developing an underwater version of the International Space Station, and it's going to be out off of Curacao in the Caribbean. Renowned ocean explorer Fabien Cousteau has announced his plans for Proteus, a project that's being built as the world's most advanced scientific research station and habitat. That's just, to me, is just absolutely cool as it can be. And yes, folks, I have already sent Mr. Fabien Cousteau an invitation to appear either on a Chillie Chat or on our Sunday show from London to talk about this underwater International Space Station idea. I mean, is this something that we can go to on down the road? That, you take a trip down a submarine to this underwater habitat, the place of I don't know, but I'd sure hope to get him on the air so we can ask him about it. I think that would be just awesome. Absolutely awesome. All right. You guys all know that our guest this week on the Sunday show from London on the Cruise Amigos is Daniel Hopfeld, who is the what is his title? Marketing director for Catarina Cruise Line. He's going to be on board their newest ship, the Catarina, on Sunday, which will be in Primistan, Croatia, which is along on the Dalmatia coast of the Adriatic Sea. Pete and I actually ran a test with him this morning, camera test and mic test and all that stuff that we do ahead of time. He's going to be an interesting gentleman. I'm really looking forward to it. Talking about, they're sailing. He's got cruises that are sailing in Croatia right now, and see how that's going, and see how the protocols that they have to use, and all that stuff. So he's marketing director of Catarina Cruise Line and their newest ship, which is also called Catarina. Is where he's going to be on Sunday. So that's 3:00 Eastern Daylight Time, 8:00 London time. Daniel Hopfield of Catarina Cruise Line. Going to be another, just, I think, fabulously interesting show. All right, let's go see what we got in the way of chats today. Guys, you are not, no matter how much you're doing in the chat thing, you're not going to get me for an hour today because my mouth's too sore from yesterday. So, Pete's with us. Hi, Pete again. Pete and I have been banging back and forth all morning this morning. Amy's here. Holy cow, Amy, you're on a roll. You're actually here a minute early today. Elizabeth, I feel the big one. No, I don't. Thanks for being here, Amy. Tom Henry's with us. Gretchen's here from Ohio. Let's see. Chillie no longer has teeth. I most certainly do that. And they didn't pull teeth. They just went digging around in there and jackhammering and scraping and drilling. Oh God, I hate the sound of those drills. Ugh. Of course, I was numb, and yes, my lips. I was stepping on my lips. That's how bad it was. Because they put a ton of Novocaine in me. Anyway, but so I still have teeth, folks. Might be a little sore today. Might be slurring a little, which I don't know if it sounds slurry, but I sure feel slurry. Gretchen says, nice pangs. I know. Doesn't Melinda do a lovely job? And they are so lifelike for my two animals. And I miss them. When I first saw them, I cried. I'm not telling you. John Reitmeyer's with us. Good morning, John. How's things up in Minnesota? Let's see. Emily's here. Emily's up in New York. Good to have you with us. I'm just sliding down. Flat Dog Sound and Light. I don't know who that is. Flat Dog Sound and Light. Any bridge problem between Las Vegas and Cabo? Need to go to hospice for someone. Ooh, I don't know about that bridge. That's a very good question. I would check with somebody down there. I'm up in Virginia and got my information actually on the internet from folks. I don't know about that bridge. I do know that there's some videos on the town of Cabo itself is underwater. I mean, the whole downtown area. That's not real bad. I mean, it looks like a couple feet, maybe, or less, but enough that you wouldn't want to walk through it. You probably shouldn't be driving through it. But I know you've got a hospital situation. I'm sorry that I can't answer that. I wish I could. But welcome, and feel free to come back on this show anytime you'd like. Always good to have some new folks. Sonny's with us. Good to have you, Sonny. Let's see. Everybody's saying hello to Flat Dog Sounding Light. That's a good thing. Jason's with us. Jason's up in Pittsburgh. Oh, you know what? I forgot to go. I was going to go check out your gaming channel, Jason. Quite frankly, I've been so busy, I forgot to do that. I will definitely be checking you out. I promised you I would, and I will do that. Good. They traced all the cases down in Australia. Yeah, Gretchen, in case you missed what Gretchen is talking about, they've done a tremendous job with this outbreak in where I forget where it was in Australia, but they've shut down basically a whole state, completely shut it down again. They've had a lot of cases, and it came from an improperly quarantined family. They were quarantined in a hotel, and a couple of the security guards of the hotel were not following their own protocols. They weren't masking. They weren't cleaning their hands properly. They just weren't. They're saying they were not properly trained. But they've traced it all back to one family, and then the security folks that were dealing with the family in quarantine, and it's spread, and I don't know, 1,000 cases or some awful number. But they're working on that. But currently, that state is completely locked down. Everything again, because Australia was doing very well. New Zealand, that our administration put out a travel ban against, and made some statements about how bad they're doing. They had 9 cases after 100 days with 0 cases. So I wouldn't say that that's a real bad situation. But yeah, the Australian one, that was sincerely was a tough situation. Emily says she's glad the folks got kicked off. I am too. I mean, I hate to see anybody stranded, but boy, until things get back to normal, which is several years away, folks. And if we can travel, we got to do it their way. We got to follow the rules, or we're all going to get in trouble again. So, everyone knew the rules. Amy says everyone knew the rules before they boarded. It was perfectly clear, just like I used it. Everybody that got on that boat knew the same thing that I had in my story on Tuesday. And I said, you can only go on their excursions. They're doing a security bubble, just like the NBA's doing with the basketball teams. They're keeping you in a secured bubble to make it as safe as possible and as safe as you can for the rest of the people. And by God, if you went against that, that's just plain stupidity. I didn't want to rant today, so I'm not going to rant any further. It still takes a few days to show positive. Don't think that this will be the answer. Yeah, Tom, you're right. But still, in the MSC situation, they're stopping it from getting on board the ship. Now, the bubble, somebody could still have gotten sick and come back on board, although they had to be tested when they came on board. And yes, it could take some time until those test results are available. I'm not saying that this is the be-all, end-all, but to me, they're taking the steps they need to take to keep the most people safe And that's what we got to do right now. Goodness knows, a major screw up on MSC on this cruise would kill us all for at least another year. So we got to hope that things go decently and they do things right. And it seems to me that they're heading in that direction. Heathrow is the future of flying and cruising. Let's hope it works. That's from Pete. I agree, Pete. That's why I used the story this morning. Not many of our people other than you and the Scottish ladies over there that would be flying out of Heathrow. Although, depending on what we do in and around the cruise next year, I might be going in and out of Heathrow. Who knows? So we'll see about that. But yeah, I think that's a good sign for Great Britain. I really do. Sonny says new tests coming out all the time. Hopefully all will work well and traveling can resume. Boy, I do too. I'm fascinated with the spit test, and just like I am with the breathalyzer test. Man, let's get them going and get them out there and everywhere. I wouldn't mind. I'll breathe in a breathalyzer tube and spit in a test tube all the hell you want me to do if we can get things back to normal. So, but that's me. Emily says, good luck with Jacques Cousteau's grandson. Hope he accepts the invitation. Wouldn't that be cool? I do, when I come across something, I do it. And we've been getting some tremendous guests just because I said, oh, well, I'll send them an email and invite them. And a lot of these people are coming on the show. I've tried to get Dr. Fauci on. Well, I'm not, I understand that. I'm too small. Even the Cruz Amigos is too small for Fauci, despite, we get, I think we had 6,000 guests on the Virgin show. I mean, that's pretty substantial numbers. But, I realized that Chili Chats doesn't have an audience like that yet. But the Cruz Amigos is a lot bigger. But somebody like Dr. Fauci, he goes on in front of millions of people every day, multiple times a day. Now, he's not going to take the time to come on my show. So anyway, neither here nor there. Sonny says, wonder how MSC is handling crew getting off back on in ports. Good question. And that, of all the stories that I've read and seen so far on the ship, none of it dealt with the cruise. So I don't have an answer to that one yet. But I'm telling you, if we're going to continue seeing stories on the Grandiosa until it gets back to port, I guarantee it. We're going to see nothing but stories from the Grandiosa. So I will keep posting it, keep on top of it, and probably be talking about it on our next show, which is Saturday. So I'm sure we'll be looking at the weather situation for Saturday as well, and the Grandiosa, and who knows what else happens. So that's it for me for today, folks. I'm going to go probably start doing my bourbon IVs again real soon because my mouth is just still sore. Hopefully I can get back in the pool today. It's been a little cold at night, so the water's going to be a little cooler than I like. But I'm planning on getting back in the pool in a little while. So anyway, that's it for now. You guys be safe. Wear your mask. Use your social distancing. Do all your hand washing and all that stuff. And stay safe and stay healthy. And thank you all for being here. And I'll see you Saturday, if not before then. So have a great day, everybody. Thanks for being with me.
Thank you for watching today's Travel and Cruise Industry News. Join us every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern for another episode. Travel and Cruise Industry News is a production of Chillie's Cruises.